Good morning, afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on a beautiful Tuesday? This is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com, and it is time. We are doing our Mizzou Central mix-up today on a beautiful Tuesday, and today we're welcoming in Austin Bidwell from Mizzou Central. Of course, we always cover all things Alabama right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com, but we're spreading our wings just a little bit. We're getting a little Mizzou Central mix-up and Cowbell Corner. We're having a little Cowbell Corner segment as well. Cowbell Corner crossover as well. We'll do that tomorrow with Kinsey Bradenbury. But today we're doing our Mizzou Central mix-up with Austin Bidwell. You can find him on the Twitter machine at Austin from KC on X/Twitter. Follow all his coverage from MizzouCentral.com. Austin, how are we doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, having a great day, doing well so far, enjoying the week. It's rivalry week, and for Mizzou, that means Arkansas. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Missouri keeps their excellent, their dream season going by beating Florida 33-31. Okay, from the outside in looking in, what the heck happened? Mizzou, you're supposed to beat Florida by a lot. They stink. No defense, both teams over 500 yards. What happened in the ball game besides the walk-off field goal?
I mean, stylistically, this matchup is never going to be good for Mizzou. Mizzou, if you look at them all season, they've struggled with mobile quarterbacks. They've struggled with quarterbacks that can get out of the pocket. You look at Jaden Daniels. You look at, all these quarterbacks that Mizzou has played. The ones they've really struggled with are the ones that have the ability to extend the play, the ones to move out of the pocket. And we saw that with Graham Mertz a little bit, but we really saw that is when Florida's backup quarterback had to come in. And when we saw that Mizzou was unable to keep him in the pocket and unable to stop him from, having these little option plays where he would fake to the running back, everyone would commit, and he would leak out, or either they would all zone in on him and the running back would be gone. And, I think that that's going to be something that Mizzou has to work on in the offseason, and something that coming to this game, we all knew that Mizzou was going to struggle with these mobile quarterbacks and struggle with these plays. And I think that it really showed that it's not something you can just keep ignoring, and it's not something that you can just not think about. And that's really what hurt Mizzou. And that's why the game was as close as it was. It was just a bad stylistic matchup for the Tigers. And I think that you can expect to see that more if Mizzou has to play with or against mobile quarterbacks.
All right, so Missouri end up winning. Contextualize this season. I mean, obviously, it's not the 14 and 15, the 14 and 15 seasons where Missouri wins the SEC East. But it's been a hot minute since Missouri's been relevant in the SEC to this level. What's the significance of this season?
I would even maybe go as far to argue that this season is just as significant as those SEC East, winning seasons, because this program, recently has not been something that, when recruits look at Mizzou before this season, they're not looking at a team that's going to go and compete in the SEC. But what Drinkwitz has been building at Mizzou, and what these recruits are now saying is they're saying that this is a team that's going to go out there and compete, this team that's going to go out there and win, and beat the best of the best. So this season, while it's been, maybe not the exact thing they hoped for in terms of, winning the SEC East and then contending for the college football playoffs, this is an extremely important season in the future and building this program for the coaches. Coming to this season, people would have maybe said that Drink was on the hot seat. Drink needed to prove himself. Coach Drinkwitz needed to, show something. And I think that he has, and I think the recruits have taken notice. Just recently there was a commit from Colorado that flipped to Mizzou. It's because people are seeing that these games and these wins are important to recruits, and I think that's what's going to build for the future for those seasons that you can contend for the SEC East.
All right, Austin, we're talking to Austin Bidwell of MizzouCentral.com on the Mizzou Central mix-up right here on the Joe Gaither Show. All right, so I'm looking at bowl projections, and recent one that I'm looking at right here, USA Today, Cotton Bowl for Missouri. Cotton Bowl against Texas? Oh, you're leaving Texas out of the college football playoff in that scenario, and that's a different discussion. But how would Missouri fans feel with, okay, maybe Drinkwitz is on the hot seat to, we're going to the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, Mizzou fans should be thrilled. And they, this is something that the team has been looking for since those seasons. And, I mean, the whole, Missouri has, embraced Drinkwitz. I think that the fan base has really grabbed onto him. I'm not even sure before the season that he was on the hot seat with the fans. I think that it was always more of the school itself. But when you see his wins and the fans have really built around him, it's been great. And when you talk about something like the Cotton Bowl versus Texas, after coming off of a year where you were fighting for bowl eligibility at the end of the season, it's really something that's been special for the program as a whole. And fans are just going to keep latching on to Drink and keep latching on to the personalities in this program. So when you really talk about something that special in a game that big, it's something that's really exciting for this program.
Well, he's really fun coach. He's a really fun coach to follow and to pay attention to, just because of kind of maybe his quirkiness per se. So I've enjoyed watching Drinkwitz from afar, and I've enjoyed what he's done at Missouri. I think a lot of people might have written him off a little too early, too soon. What's the key to keeping it going? Brady Cook is just a junior. And he's not really an NFL type prospect at the moment. Now, maybe could develop into that, but at the moment, not really looking like he's an early entry candidate. What's the key to keeping it going? I mean, you want to get Brady Cook a senior year, and then what? And what else? Looking at 2024.
I mean, when you look forward, you see that Mizzou is going to return a lot of their great players. I mean, they'll lose some, of course. They'll lose Chris Havens Drain in the offseason. They'll lose, some big pieces, but the main pieces on this team are here to stay. Luther Burden is going to play another year. He's just going to continue to get better. If we see a leap similar to his freshman to sophomore year, he's going to be the best receiver in the country if he isn't already. If we see another leap like that in the next year, and Brady Cook, his transition from last year to this year has just been. It's been tremendous after his shoulder surgery. He's really came out and proved that he's a quarterback that can and should start in the SEC and can and should start for this Missouri team. And it really starts with them too. Of course, the recruiting, as I was talking about earlier, is going to play a big part. 5-star commits Williams Nawari comes in next year. He is going to be an absolute unit on the defensive line. And it's just the ability to keep recruiting and keep bringing in players with immense talent, keep bringing in players that buy into the system, and keep bringing in players who can help you win football games. And I think that's something that Drink has done extremely well over his seasons at Mizzou, is the ability to bring in players and it be a next guy up system. Missouri, the last 2 or 3 years in the SEC, has had the leading rusher because of the ability to bring in guys. You had Tyler Beatty in this year. Of course, you have Cody Schrader. And when you really talk about the ability to replace someone like Tyler Beatty with a guy like Cody Schrader, it just shows the fact that this Missouri team can scout. They can find players that nobody else thinks are going to be, the next big guy, and they can turn them into pieces that help this team win. And in order to keep going over the next few seasons, you're not going to have the recruiting prowess of course, an Alabama or of a Georgia, just based off of team history, but the ability to find players, and diamonds in the rough, if you will, is going to be something that's going to help this team down the line into future seasons for sure.
All right, so 9-1, having a great season so far, top 10 season so far. You cannot let Arkansas spoil the good vibes. What's going to be the what's on deck with Arkansas this weekend?
Yeah, and I mean I think it's a very similar situation to Florida. KJ Jefferson, I think, is going to have a great game. I think KJ Jefferson is the type of quarterback that Missouri does not want to play. They don't want to go against the guy who can take off and run and can also throw the ball 50 yards down the field, because he's a great player, and Arkansas, is not having a good season. It's bad this year for them. And Mizzou has a history of beating Arkansas. Mizzou has, come out and they've put on paper that they know it's a rivalry. They think it's rivalry. We don't care if you think it's a rivalry. And that's what Missouri is saying right now. And they're going to come out and they're going to prove it. And I think that they really have to contain KJ Jefferson. They have to continue to get their offense going. Look at Cody Schrader early to, set the tone early, try to win in the trenches, and just try to, play physical. Don't allow for these trick plays, these plays where the quarterback gets outside the pocket and extends a play, because that's where you lose to a team like Arkansas. And that's really where the upsets happen.
All right, Austin, you got any big Black Friday plans? I don't know if a lot of people will realize it, but this game, Missouri and Arkansas, is on Friday at 3 p.m. Central. So you let the family, the sisters, the girlfriend, the wives, the mothers, cousins all go shopping, and you're standing around watching football, right?
Absolutely. That's going to be a really important game for, the program. So you're going to have to tune in regardless of whether you think it's going to be a big win or a close game, just because of, how pivotal this game can be in Mizzou trajectory towards the future. Because you win this game, you're finishing the season 10-2 or 9-2, heading into bowl games. And if you lose this, it's a 9-3 or an 8-3 season heading into a bowl game, which is it's fine, but it's not how the fans and the coaching
10
staff.
and 2 is a whole lot better.
It is a whole lot better, especially when you're playing in a New Year's Six bowl compared to not playing in a New Year's Six bowl. So, I mean, I'm going to be watching the game, and I think that everyone else who follows Mizzou football should be tuned into this one.
All right, Austin, tell me a little bit about yourself and about what's going on at MizzouCentral before we talk about basketball.
Yeah, I mean, so I am a freshman here at Mizzou. Yes, I'm from KC. As the Twitter name would suggest, Kansas City. Just kind of getting into it. I found a really good team. MizzouCentral, the team is amazing. I can't express enough. Joey, Chase, all of these great writers. Quentin is coming on the staff next semester, and it's all headed by Chris is a great guy to lead the charge, and I think that we're really building something special over there, and I think it's something that as proven success as you could see at Bama Central. Great site, great content, and I think that's what we're trying to do over here. And we're really just trying to, make something that's enjoyable to everyone who wants to read, everyone who wants to listen, because it's our passion, and it's something that we're really excited about.
Well, Austin, what's going to be maybe your lane or some of the lanes that you hope to carve out with MizzouCentral? Football, basketball, recruiting, or something different? High school sports? What's going to be like the Austin Bidwell? This is the path that I dominate.
Yeah, so recently I've been doing a lot of football, and I will tell you that's definitely my main and favorite sport when it comes to college athletics. I really do love basketball. I'm covering a little bit of basketball from MizzouCentral, but really just football. And look for me to, when the draft starts rolling around, we start getting into a little bit of the past season, start doing some, projections in the draft and NFL fits for, Mizzou players and talking about where they're going to go to the NFL, because I think that that's going to be a very, fun thing to look at after the season, because Mizzou usually doesn't have this many NFL ready guys. So, hopefully to cover a little bit of that, keep up with football, and then you might see me on some basketball.
Well, let's flip to basketball real quick. I appreciate your time. We're talking to Austin Bidwell of MizzouCentral.com for the MizzouCentral mix-up on the Joe Gaither Show. Missouri basketball started off the year okay-ish, a bit up and down. Had a weird year. 3-2. You beat Minnesota on a big old comeback. You lost to Memphis in kind of blowout fashion. But then Monday, Sunday night, you lost to Jackson State. So what's going on with Dennis Gates' program? Because I walked into the season thinking Dennis Gates, dark horse, sleeper for an SEC title. Yeah, the talent may not be the same talent that Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, or even Alabama has, but I think Dennis Gates is a hell of a coach. So what's going on with a 3-2 start with South Carolina State coming to Columbia tomorrow? Yeah,
so, and I mean, you go back to Dennis Gates. Dennis Gates, regardless of how the season played out, is a hell of a coach. He's proved that, and he has been great for this team. I don't think that there is a more loved figure in Columbia, Missouri right now than Dennis Gates. You can ask any of the students, anyone, they love Dennis Gates. And I think that, as this team continues to gel, they will get better over time. You can expect them to get better. You can expect them going into conference play to look better. But it's hard to win games when you don't have a true number one guy. Sean East has been great this season. Do not get me wrong. He has been phenomenal. But when you look at what really led this team last year is you had a guy night in and night out that could go in and give you what you needed to win the game. You had a Kobe Brown, you had a Demoy Hodge, you had all of these guys who were NBA level players and just had the ability to go out there and win you games. Missouri right now doesn't truly have that number one guy. They don't truly have the guy that's going to go out there and win you games. And when you really look at the game they had against Jackson State, as well as the game, maybe against Memphis, you see that Missouri's inability to guard at the guard position is really what is hurting them. Jackson State's guard had 20 points. He came into the game averaging just 10, went for 20. And things like that may seem subtle, he had a good game. He had a good game, 10 points above, blah, blah, blah. That's when you lose games, is when you allow for players, every single player on their team to do a little more than they usually do, and for them to come out and do a little better than they usually do because Mizzou's guard defense isn't there. They're getting beat up in the paint, and to really put it together, they need to create efficient shots. That's what they were so good at last year. They shot the three just as much as anyone else in the country, but they were good at shooting the three. They were efficient with their shots. Coming into this year, they haven't really been efficient with their shooting. They've had nights like the one against Memphis where they just went ice cold from the field and nothing could help them that night. And I think that's kind of what we saw against Jackson State, a better offensive output. But again, you should not be hanging with teams like Jackson State, who has yet to win a game coming into the contest. And you should be an SEC contender.
All right, I'm going to be a little selfish here, and you brought up Kobe Brown. Kobe Brown's from Huntsville, Alabama, right up the road, maybe two hours away. So he's moved on from the program, but Missouri still has Caleb Brown, who is Kobe's younger brother. Tell us about Caleb Brown. It doesn't look like, from what I can see, that he's been contributing yet so far. 6'7" guard, 250, also from Huntsville. So I'm going to be a little selfish asking about an Alabama guy. What's Caleb Brown? What's his story? What's his situation? How does he fit into this Tigers team?
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't seen much from Caleb Brown yet. And that's something that I hope we see more going down. This season, we haven't really seen the output from him. But I think that he could be that guy like Kobe. He, again, 6'7" guard is something that is going to be really great for this team. If, he can develop, he can get in there, and he can start, playing like Kobe. Hopefully that's the goal for this, for Dennis Gates and this Tigers team, is to, have him be a leader down the stretch. And I think that we will see that again as this team, blends more, finds their identity, and finds their ability to, go out there and win games. But, maybe he's the guy that this team needs to step up and go out there and prove that he can take over the squad and take over the games.
Well, Austin, it's been a lot of fun, man. I hope you have a great day. Tell everybody what is on deck with what's a Missouri Thanksgiving like? How's it different from anywhere else? I'm sure it's the exact same: ham, turkey, mac and cheese, stuffing. What's going to be on the Austin Bidwell Thanksgiving spread?
Yeah, absolutely. Early morning, you always got to go out, play some football with the fam. That's the number one. Eat a lot of food, a lot of food. I'm a big pecan pie guy. I might have to put a few slices away myself. That's probably my go-to Thanksgiving dessert, but I'm definitely ham over turkey guy. That's where it's at.
Well, I'm with you on that as well. So Austin Bidwell, MizzouCentral, joins us for the MizzouCentral mix-up right here on the Joe Gaither Show. Make sure you follow him at Austin from KC on Twitter/X. He's just getting going with MizzouCentral. You'll be able to follow all kinds of football, basketball, and many other sports right there with MizzouCentral.com and Austin Bidwell and their great team. We had Joey Van Zimmeren last week. We had Austin Bidwell today. You never know who else is going to come up with the MizzouCentral mix-up. We'll find out next week on the program. Austin, enjoy your Thanksgiving and MIZ.
ZOU.
There we go. Austin Bidwell joining us for the MizzouCentral mix-up, and we'll be back with more of the Joe Gaither Show right here on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.